Morning guys and gals, Froggy here. Let me get you caught up. What I'm doing is I'm replacing a ceiling fan that only runs on one speed, which is slow, with a new ceiling fan that will run on 3 speeds at least, which is better. Anyway, I'm killing the circuit. I have all my circuits identified, so I just turned off the one circuit that has like a lot of fans on it. I already took the blades off, which was pretty easy. Let me show you. On the new one, actually, it's just 2 screws there. See those 2 holes? 2 screws, and the blade attaches there. That's the new one. But anyway, just to show you. So 5 blades, 2 screws each one, just to get them out of the way so you can work a little easier. Now here's the tricky thing that I just figured out and I wanted to share with you. You see up at the top where I've got that cardboard, and I was prying off this trim ring, whoops, which I just dropped. Let me get that. The trim ring, which I thought it would just snap on and snap off. So I was using a couple little pry tools to try and snap it off. Well, come to find out, actually, as you can probably see, it twists on and twists off. So I was fighting a losing battle there, but I broke it off eventually. It doesn't matter because this is the old fan. But I just wanted to point that out to you. When you're trying to get this little trim ring off, which goes around that piece right up at the top that touches the ceiling, it might pop on or it might twist on, so try both ways. Okay? So now I'm going to take this piece off, which has, that has a little twisting thing, so just loosen this, and then that one, I don't know, maybe that goes all the way through. But we're going to drop this decorative piece off, and then we'll get down to the heart of the matter, which is dropping the heavy thing that has a motor in it. So I unscrewed the 2 that did not have slots, and I loosened the 2 that do have slots, and I'm going to twist it and see what happens. I need 2 hands. So there, that's just a trim plate, obviously. This is the receiver for the remote here. So I'm going to have to figure out how to drop this ball. I think I just twist it and drop the ball out, and then that'll drop this down so I can get at the wires. I have to undo the wires. Let's try that. So I took 2 screws out of this, and also I pulled the pin. You remember the pin I showed you before? There's the pin right there. So now that drops everything down, so it's really actually hanging by the wires. That's okay. I'm going to take this remote control receiver piece out, and that'll give me some more space. Now figure how to drop this off. So I'm just going to slide that out and disconnect the twisty connectors. So as I slid this out, everything dropped down about 1 foot or so. It's hanging by the wires now. This only weighs about, maybe 8 pounds, I don't know. Anyway, it's okay. And come to find out, you lift this thing up and then slide it towards the open part of the of this assembly here, and that's how this comes out. Okay? Okay, so we're all apart now. Let me get a little focus here. So, this is your house wires here. Ground, hot, or positive and negative, and ground. And this one is just a ground, also for the metallic parts of the device. Now, the remote, 2 wires go to the house, and then 3 wires go to the wiring of the fan itself. Okay, so I'm going to proceed to disconnect all this stuff, and then I'll show you how I put the new stuff back. Of course, the fan will then drop off when all the wires are disconnected, and then I've got to take this old adapter out, put a new one on there. Alrighty, so that's it. The only hard part is that, you know, you've got to hold the weight of the fan, heavy part of the fan unit in one hand, and you got to undo all your wiring with the other hand, and eventually it all comes apart. I'll just remove that old white adapter, and then we're ready for the new one. That's the remote receiver part, and you know, the actual remote being right over there, the old one. And that's your ceilings box. It's for a fan or light fixture. It's attached to studs up in the ceiling, and right there 2 really big screw holes where those right there's one of them, the other one I've dropped down. Those really big screws hold the whole thing up, so make sure you got to have some big fasteners when you're putting on something as heavy as a fan up on the ceiling. Those are the screws right there. What I showed you before was not the screw, it was the pin thing. Okay, this is the mounting bracket here for the new fan, and a little cover, and we take these 2 screws out, the ones that go all the way through, and loosen the ones that are in slots. And then we're going to put that up there and drop the wires down, the supply wires. And we're going to fasten this mounting bracket using the long screws that I showed you before that come with the box that's in the ceiling. Drop the wires down to one side or the other side of this hanger. Don't bring them down the middle. Take these shipping blocks out, 10 screws here, and then attach these these things that go on the blade. Whoops, that's glass. So 10 screws off, 10 screws back. A little trick for putting these things in. What I did was I took my Phillips bit out of the drill, the driver, and I'm just using it to hand start all these screws. So I drop them in to the fan arm, and then just lay it down there in position and use my hand to twist that bit. Works pretty good, quick. Partially loosen these 2 screws. This is called the yoke, so we can put the down rod in there. This is the down rod, so you're going to remove this pin and clip, feed the wire through, stick it down in there. There's a place for the pin to go through, and then tighten these screws. Don't forget to stick the canopy onto the down rod, or you'll be taking everything apart again. So then you're going to feed the wire, whoops, sorry, out of frame, feed the wire up through here, and then this is going to go down on there, and put the pin through, clip it, and then tighten those 2 set screws. So you're going to lift this up in the air, slide this half ball into that hanger. Up there's a slot where you will slide it through. Trying to focus that for you. And then we'll start connecting wires and such. Make sure you twist it so that one of these slots lines up with a tab over there, so that it can't rotate on itself once the motor starts spinning the fan blades. Well, this is pretty cool. The house wires go into these little pre-assembled plastic push-in connectors. You don't have to use wire nuts. Just I think we're going to use the wire nuts for the ground, but these 2. So my length on these looks about right. So it goes white to white, black to red, and then we'll look at the green. To me it looked like what they had stripped back on the green wasn't enough, so I stripped them back a little more, so I have like about 5/8 bare wire on that. So all the greens and the bare wire go together with a wire nut, and these two are going to be the push-in thing like I told you, and then one more is just some snap connections. Oh, excuse me, right there, I got out of frame. That's just a snap connection. Pretty good design so far. So the final one is this connection right here, and you just kind of wrap this wire back and forth between these hooks just to get it out of the way. They make it long in case you have a longer down rod, which you would have had to buy separate. And that's the end of the wiring. It doesn't look too bad. I try to neaten it up, and then this is going to go up, cover it all. Well, that part was a little bit of a chore. You have to take this off of the light fixture, and it was locked in between these two lock nuts, and they were untight, so I had to use a vice grip on this side and some needle nose pliers to grab the other side because I couldn't get a wrench in there. Anyway, anyway, it's off. Now there's supposed to be a cap. It goes in there. Okay, guys and gals, so there it is. It runs. Actually has a pretty quiet motor, good bearings in the motor, I guess, and the battery in the remote is a 12 volt, which is kind of unusual, but remote batteries last for a long time anyway because you only use them for a split second, so that's not really an issue. And that final little cap, just 3 screws to pop that cap on, and it's good to go. Just throw your circuit breaker back on. Give me a thumbs up or a like if this helps you out. Subscribe to my channel if you want more from Froggy, mostly automotive, but I do home repair, home maintenance, and anything else I find interesting. And I'll see you later. Have a great rest of the week, you guys and gals. Froggy out. Bye-bye.